Welcome! You're watching the Thrift Store Rundown, where we bring Hollywood home on a budget. This week is all about surviving and thriving 9 to 5ing. I'm gonna show you some ways to make your daily 8-hour grind a bit more bearable and a lot more fun during and after work. So why don't we get started after work?
So you want to buy a slow cooker. Maybe you have fantasies of coming home to a hot dinner already bubbling and making the house smell delicious.
I've had this fantasy about 5 times now with the purchases and reviews of 5 slow cooker cookbooks. 3 of them coming via America's Test Kitchen and their Slow Cooker Revolution series. If you know me, you know I fantasize about ATK pretty much all the time. So now it's time I take these daydreams into overtime with their newest installment, the Complete Slow Cooker. Purchased for $3.99. Think of this as the greatest hits collection from their first 3 slow cooker cookbooks, along with 100 new recipes added to the mix, from appetizers to desserts, for a total of 400 must-have recipes that cook while you play or work. First on the agenda, finding the right type of slow cooker. As you know, Lisa McManus, the gadget guru on PBS, is the boss of tastings and testings. Her recommendations are not exactly final in the long term, meaning forever. The recommendations do change over time, but for now, if you're in the market for a large slow cooker, she recommends the KitchenAid 6-quart slow cooker with solid glass lid for $100 to ace every test. If you're in the market for a small slow cooker, how about this? You might have to shell out a little more money for the Cuisinart 4-quart Cook Central 3-in-1 multi-cooker, which isn't the same as the slow cooker, but for about $130, it should do the job pretty nicely. And if you're in the market for a mini slow cooker, a very small one, here's a very nice recommendation. The Elite Cuisine 1.5-quart mini slow cooker, $24, it aced every test as well. So after the recommendations, we have here about a dozen tips to slow cooker success. Get out of skillets sometimes. You might have to do some pre-browning of certain ingredients before you dump them into the slow cooker. As you know, ATK isn't very fond of the dump and cook technique. A lot of flavors wash down over time if you do that. Plus the microwave and the service, bulk up on spices, aromatics, and other flavorings. Think differently about thickeners. Pay attention to temps when cooking lean proteins. Jumpstart the cooking of 5-cent pasta. And speaking of which, you might want to toast the pasta a bit beforehand. There's only a handful of pasta recipes in this installment of ATK's Slow Cooker series because it's a bit finicky to get right in a slow cooker. Build support with aluminum foil. Resist lifting the lid to stir most of the time. Add vegetables at the right time. Make the most out of your braising liquid. And finally, finish under the boiler. Sometimes. There's also a guide to handling certain ingredients in a slow cooker. How they should be carefully cooked and timed to achieve maximum flavor. You'll want to pay attention to these icons down here. Easy prep. This icon here indicates recipes that take no more than 15 minutes of prep work and no stovetop work for you to achieve success. We also have vegetarian recipes, light recipes with nutritional stats for all the light recipes in here, featured at the end, and cook all day. The minimum time for a recipe to cook in here is 1 hour, maximum 8 hours. And those are the type of recipes that cook all day. Some on easy appetizers right now, but of course they go above and beyond that. You got the requisite soups, stews, and chilies, but you also got roasts and brunch, and even desserts. The whole spectrum of slow cooking. However, since we're in wintertime, the focus of today's video will be on classic comfort foods, because you know we're in classic comfort food season right now. You gotta respect the classics, man. Having said that, again, there are 100 new classics in here to get psyched about. But for now, let's just stick with the basics. So here we have chicken pot pie, old-fashioned chicken and dumplings, farmhouse chicken casserole, chicken enchiladas, paella, shepherd's pie, hearty beef and vegetable pot pie, rustic pork and white bean casserole. And here is one of several Make It 5 Ways features in here, where you take one master recipe, in this case meatloaf, and adapt it 4 different ways. So we have the master recipe here, but they also give you variations for a smoky bacon meatloaf, a spicy Korean meatloaf, a southwestern wheat meatloaf, and an Italian meatloaf. So we have a lot of delicious changes of pace in here. But continuing on with classic comfort foods, you got mac and cheese, chili mac, turkey meatloaf, roller mac and cheese with comté and porcini. What's comté? What's comté? Oh, that's a type of cheese. Real sophisticated mac and cheese. Baked ziti, broccoli and sun-dried, tomato lasagna, the works. Dinner for two. I know, we're way past Valentine's Day. And along the same lines, we also have a lot of game day appetizers in here. And I know we're way past the Super Bowl at this point. But it just shows you the type of gamut that this cookbook really runs, following the line of the first 3 cookbooks. Taking a look at the table of contents here, 14 food chapters really illustrate what I'm talking about when they run the gamut, from easy appetizers to desserts. I should also mention that more than any other kitchen appliance in your house, slow cookers are about convenience. You want to prep your meals ahead of time, if you can, turn them on, walk away, go do your errands or your daily 9-to-5 grind, and come home to a house that's filled to the brim with delicious aromas. That's your slow cooker at work. You also have a lot of simple side dishes in here that don't require the use of a slow cooker. We also have ingredient preparation tips outlined in photos, and a sparse amount of ingredient recommendations in here. I mean, a good amount, but a little bit sparse. And as always, the widest recipe box brief summation for each recipe, giving you the testing and tasting process. There's never been an ATK cookbook that has failed me in the long term. I mean, there have been a few that have failed in terms of aesthetics, but for the most part, everything's been done with the best of quality, and this is no exception. You can cook everything in your slow cooker with confidence. And if you know me, I take that term everything quite literally, because I own the entire line of slow cooker revolution cookbooks. I'll link all 3 of those reviews in the description below. But this comprehensive collection goes way beyond pot roast and chili, with foolproof recipes for everything from appetizers to desserts. Up your party game with starters like baked brie with figs and Korean chicken wings, plus new twists on old favorites like smoky bacon meatloaf and broccoli and sun-dried tomato lasagna to keep dinner interesting, while fresh international recipes like pork pad thai and paella further expand your repertoire. And leave room for irresistible sweets like monkey bread, key lime pie, and Nutella bread pudding. Let America's Test Kitchen show you the way to slow cooker success. They can't help that they're slow cookers. Whether they're fans of John Legend is a different story. I'm not, but how could I not make that connection? So with that, I'm giving this 5 out of 5 claps. There are some fantasies out there that might have you dialing up a 900 number, leaving you with a very hefty and controversial phone bill. Not this one, all for a rounded number of 4. Of course, your number may vary depending on where you find this, but one thing's for sure, and if you can't take my word for it, maybe you should take Lisa McManus's. But the bottom line is, some fantasies are way too scrumptious and wholesome to stay secret. For watching TSR. Now, to see another awesome review like this one, click here. If you want to become a Hollywood bargain hunter, click here to subscribe. And I'll catch you on the thrift side.